Platform studies. This is collaborative work I've been conducting with Nick Montfort. There's a long history of material constraint in human creativity, from the impressions of reed on clay of Sumerian cuneiform, to the mnemonic and metrical device of the Homeric epithet, to the logically constrained writing techniques of the Oulipo, to the relationship between the size of silver halide crystals on a film emulsion, the light sensitivity of the film, and the optical texture of the resulting photograph. The best creators and critics are well aware of how materiality facilitates and constrains certain types of expression and innovation. It is time for us to seriously consider the lowest level of computers and to understand their material relationships to culture and to creativity. To this end, platform studies, the name Nick Montfort and I give to the practice of exploring the relationships between the hardware and software design of standardized computing platforms and the creative works that have been produced on those platforms. A well-defined example of a platform is the 1977 Atari Video Computer System, the first popular home video game console and the subject of a forthcoming book Nick and I wrote. Its hardware design was strongly driven by cost considerations. These led to a number of remarkable decisions which in turn influenced the way software had to be written on the machine, which in turn influenced the particular video games created during and after the Atari's reign. The most important of these was the Television Interface Adapter, or TIA, a custom chip that handled the interface between the processor and the television display. The VCS does not have a frame buffer like modern graphics systems or even like its predecessor, the 1976 Fairchild Channel F. Rather, the programmer must use the TIA to construct every scan line of the television picture manually, one by one by one. It is a constraint that helps explain the rows of colors in VCS sprites as seen here on Pitfall Harry, or here in the Sunset of Frostbite. The CRT phosphor's tendency to blend neighboring scan lines accentuates this visual effect. Combat, designed while the VCS hardware was being developed, is practically a pure demonstration of the affordances of the Atari VCS, showing how its creators imagined the system might be used. The TIA provides registers for 2 sprites, each with its corresponding missile, a background, and a set of low-resolution playfield graphics. The horizontal symmetry apparent in Combat and other games speaks partly to the system's design as a 2-player game system, each player with his or her own side, literally leveling the playing field. This practice was facilitated by providing only half as much playfield memory as the screen needed, and doubling or mirroring it via a single bit on the TIA's playfield control register. Such constraints quickly began to influence genre. When Warren Robinett set out to create an adaptation of Crowther and Wood's Adventure for the VCS, he faced a major challenge. Adventure uses only text as input via teletype or terminal display, but the Atari has no facility for text. Robinett's solution was to interpret Adventure spaces as individual screens on the television, with a player cursor able to move between them by walking off one side of the screen and onto the opposite side of another. Likewise, Robinett adapted the many verbs of Adventure into 2 basic functions, contextual collision and button press. Collide with a sword to pick it up, collide the sword with a dragon to slay it, press the button to drop a held object. Such techniques, some tied rather arbitrarily to the particularities of the VCS, soon became conventions for the graphical adventure genre, which Adventure inaugurated. They were adopted and further developed in games like Raiders of the Lost Ark, Ultima, The Legend of Zelda, and on into contemporary 3D games. The study of computational creativity can take a number of focuses. We distinguish between 5 of them. Reception, focused on the experience of the user. Interface, focused on the user's relationship to the visible, operable part of a computer system. Form and function, focused on the operation and behavior of the program. Code, focused on the way work is programmed and understood by programmers. And platform, focused on the abstraction layer beneath code. Very frequently, effective studies of new media will draw from multiple levels of this model. But we want to endorse the platform layer in particular as both a promising and an underexplored aspect of new media scholarship. Platform Studies is a new book series at the MIT Press, which Nick and I are series editing. Our book about the Atari, called Video Computer System, is the first in this series and will be published this winter. Thank you very much.